Hey everyone, Chelsea here from So Simple Home. Today's project is an oldie but a goodie. This is a project that I did years ago for my oldest son when he was tiny. It's a project that I still get some traffic on and people ask lots of questions for, and so I figured why not sew it up and make a video that everyone will enjoy. This is the Mr. Turtle Stuffie. This was back when my oldest was about 3 years old and he was way into Finding Nemo and turtles and all the sea creatures, and so I made him his first little turtle. So this one is fun. It has a really soft puffy shell. It can sit nice and flat. I don't put eyes on mine. You could put button eyes, or you could get stuffed animal, doll eyes or whatever. It's totally up to you. You could embroider some eyes, but on this one we just are making it super simple. For this project I use 4 different fabric colors just to give it a little bit of interest. You could use more than that. You could change them out for your feet and your head, or you could use less than that. You could just do 2. But you don't need a lot. It works really well with scraps. So let's go ahead and get started and make our own Mr. Turtle. So the first thing is make sure you go down into the description and grab the free pattern. There's a link, it'll take you over. Enter your email, get the pattern, you'll be good to go. There's 4 pattern pieces, and it's really very, very simple, mostly straight lines. So then you'll need fabric. I use 4 different colors. I ran out of one of them. Maybe I used 5 colors. Anyway, but for this second one, I'm using some like blues and greens to make our turtle just a little bit different. All right, I have already cut out my pieces just to save us some time, because that's not fun to watch people cut things all the time. So I have my turtle body. There you need 4 pieces. I have 4 different pieces here of different various colors of blue greens. Then you need legs and tail. You'll cut 10 of these, so 8 for legs and then 2 for the tails. And then you need the head. You're cutting 2 of the head, and then you'll need the base, and you just need 1 circle for the base cut out. So to start, we are going to sew up our head and our legs and tail. So these are actually very, very simple. You're going to put your head pieces right sides together, and you're just going to stitch about a quarter of an inch, excuse me, all the way around the head. And the head and the tail are the only pieces in this pattern the head and the tail are the only ones you're going to stuff. You will stuff the body, but the legs we're actually not stuffing. You could stuff them if you wanted to, but I kind of like on this project that they kind of are floppy. It's a little easier to hang on to, fun for itty bitty babies. So again, it's an option. You could stuff them, but in this tutorial we're not going to. And I'm just going around, I'm just chain stitching all of these around at a quarter of an inch. I am giving them a tiny back stitch, but that's just so when they turn they don't unravel, because on my first one they tended to want to unravel a little. Oops. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm just going to clip around those curved edges every inch or so, and that will just help everything lay nice and flat when I turn it right side out. So clipping those curved edges does make a big difference if you want things laying flat. All right, last one. This is my tail. It's actually a different fabric than my legs. On the original one, I did them the same, but on this one I wanted to change it up a little. Now we're just going to turn everything right side out. And that is probably the most time consuming part of this project. And then just grab like a pin or a wooden dowel and turn everything right side out. And it's easier if you push from the top if you can, and then turn it. And like I said, that helps if you have something that is kind of pokey and can help you pull it the right direction. Turned. So now we're just going to press them nice and flat, especially the feet, because we're going to stitch them up. Just give them a little design. Before they get put on. And then your head, if you did want to add an eye, now's a good time to add that eye. If you want to draw something or press something, use some vinyl. If you wanted to stitch something on, you would probably want to stitch it on before you stitch your two pieces together. But like I said, for this project, we are not, we're only stuffing these two pieces and not our legs. So our legs, you can do a couple things. For this one, it's kind of hard to see. I just did a couple of like semicircles, if you will, on my sewing machine, just to give it a little bit of a design. So that's what I'm going to do here. And you can do the same thing we did originally and kind of chain stitch them together so you don't stop stitching, and that just kind of saves on thread and saves on time. You could also embroider like a name on the foot. You could embroider a design on it, whether on your machine or by hand. Totally up to you. And then I'm going to trim these. And then we'll keep going and we'll do an inner circle, I guess you would say, or an inner arch. We'll call it an arch because that's kind of what it is. It's like a little arch on the inside. And mine is not perfect, but that's all right. It's not about perfection. You could trace it on there like with your fabric marking pencil or pen if you wanted to ensure that it was really perfect, and that would be just fine. All right, last one. So they've just got just a little arch just to add a little bit of interest to those feet. Nothing special really. So they're nice and flat now. So our feet are done here, feet. Okay, now we're gonna stuff our head and our tail. And I just have a little bit of stuff in here. And you could use stuffing. You don't have to go out and buy new polyfiber fill. You know, if you have an old stuffed animal, feel free to take it apart and use that stuffing. We've used stuffing from pillows that have gotten too many holes we can't use anymore. So don't feel like you have to always go buy something new. You definitely can recycle. So there's my tail. And then my head here. Get some stuffing in there. Use your pencil to get all the way in. And then the stiffer that you make the head, the more it'll stand up on its own. It'll get floppy if you're not careful. The original Mr. Turtle that I made, he had a pretty floppy head. But I have learned since. And this one is, again, he's just cute. He's simple. It's just kind of a fun little gift idea, or just a little treat for a little one. If you're just wanting something to sew, this is kind of a fun one. All right, I'm going to add just a teeny bit more to stiffen up his neck. but I think that should do. All right, so we have head, tail, legs. So now we are going to stitch up the body. All right, so I have my 4 body pieces here. They are all different colors. They don't have to be. You could do every other one, totally up to you. But I am gonna stitch my head of my turtle in between 2 of my layers here. So I'm gonna take these 2 kind of green colors, and my head is gonna get stitched in between these 2. And that seems like it might be tricky, but it works out. So I'm gonna pin the bottom, and then I'm gonna take my turtle head here, and he's gonna kind of stick out just a little bit, maybe ½ inch, quarter to ½ inch out of the 2 body layers, and then we'll pin up here. Okay, now these 2 pieces, I'm actually going to leave an opening between these 2 pieces. Okay, right in the middle. This opening is so that I can actually stuff the body of my turtle at the end. So I'm going to stitch from here down, back stitch, cut my thread, start here, back stitch, and then go down and back stitch on this specific piece. And then that will ensure that I have an opening to stuff Mr. Turtle here. If I don't do that, then I forget that I need a place to put the stuffing. Done that a time or 2. Okay, now we're gonna sew this side, and we're gonna sew all the way down over the neck of our turtle, over his head, down to the bottom, and back stitch. So I have 2 pieces now for Mr. Turtle for his body. So there's his head, pops out, hello. And then we're gonna put these 2 pieces that we've just sewn together right here, and we're gonna stitch from this side down to this side. So it's very similar to if you have ever made our kids' winter cap, or our aviator hat, our baby hat. It's a kind of a similar arch, if you will. And again, we're just sewing it about 1/4 inch. So there's the body. It's kind of like a little umbrella. Ta-da! Okay, next step, the base. So the bottom, the turtle is flat on the bottom. So the first thing we're gonna do is figure out where we're putting our tail and our feet. So our tail will go right in the back. So I'm actually going to stitch the tail down just so that it stays in place. You don't necessarily have to do this step if you're super confident that your tail is not going anywhere. I found this step is pretty essential actually, or else things move too much. All right, and then we have our feet. And what I did, I put them a little farther back on this guy. I'm gonna try and put them a little farther forward on this one, because I think I want them more in the front than in the back. And you could space them out. You don't have to do them, you know, you could put them farther apart. I just kind of like that they kind of little floppy together. They're just cute. Okay, so that's about where we're gonna put them. And I'm again just going to get a little stitch on them just so they don't go anywhere. because when we start adding the base and the body together, things can get a little wonky. All right, and you can kind of flip them here so you can kind of see where they'll be. So feet, tail, and that looks pretty cute to me. Alrighty, now we are ready to put the body and the base together. I'm gonna get these last threads here. I don't want them. All right, now we make sure where our head is. This is the head, so it needs to be in the front, and then the opening should be back where the tail is. Now I will say this part is maybe the trickiest, just because anytime you're sewing something to a circle, you want to make sure everybody is spaced correctly. And sometimes if we haven't sewn everything quite like it's supposed to, we'll have excess fabric. So we end up kind of with a pleat or something that we don't want. So it's always really good idea to pick. Looks like our base went on pretty well. So let's get it sewn on. So I'm actually going to start in the back. Here's the back. Get it on our machine here. And we're going to stitch about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And we can make sure we're getting all the layers stitched together as we go. Just kind of flatten everything. If we need to pull a little bit here or there, we can. Then make sure that you're inside that stitching you might have made at the beginning when you sewed your legs and your tail on. You don't want that stitching to be showing through to the opposite side. All right, we are all the way around. We'll back stitch. Clip all these threads here. Looks pretty good. So we can trim away the bulk of our feet here. Don't need any of that. And now we turn it right side out. So we find the back, grab the turtle's head here, and move everything right side out. Which sometimes is easier said than done. Get some of those feet. That'll help. Grab the tail here. There we go. Oh, look how cute he is. Oh, he's so cute. Okay, now we're gonna stuff him with some more stuffing. And we have that little opening on the back. So we're just gonna push the stuffing through that little opening and give him as much fluff as we feel like he needs. And that kind of depends on your own personal likes or dislikes when it comes to little stuffies like this. Sometimes I want a lot of stuffing. I want it to be stiff and, you know, hold its shape really well. And sometimes I want it to be a little softer, a little squishier. So again, I can't tell you how much to put in there. You just kind of base it on what you like, what you think looks good, or how it feels to the touch. And you know who you're giving the stuffy to, so that might determine how much you put in as well. If they're going to be dragging it around for years, you might want a little more stuffing in there so it can hold its shape just a little bit more. Okay, I think we're getting close here. Just kind of maneuver it around until you kind of get the shape that you want. Oh, he's cute. All right. Now we're going to stitch up the back of our turtle. And I already threaded a needle. And I'm just going to hand stitch this opening in the back closed, just with my hand needle. I like to use a slip stitch so you don't see it. It's kind of up to you what you use. Depends on what your preference is when it comes to hand stitching things. I would make sure that you use something, if you're going to give this to a child, make sure to use a stitch that won't come undone, especially if it's a young child. You don't want them to, you know, unstitch your turtle and get in the stuffing and choke on anything. That's one of the reasons I don't have eyes on this particular pattern, because buttons can come off and be a choking hazard. And I don't necessarily need eyes on him. I think he kind of is cute without them. But you definitely could use a piece of vinyl, make cute little vinyl eyes. Or you could use some fabric paint and paint some eyes on there. You know, there are definitely some options on how you could add some eyes if you really wanted Mr. Turtle to have some eyes. All right, I stitched up the back there. We're gonna maneuver some of this fluff around. Press some feet. And there he is. There's Mr. Turtle. Super cute, him and his little friend, ready to hang out in the ocean or in your backyard or wherever he might go. Just a fun, quick sew, just a real easy, simple little project that makes a fun little stocking stuffer, a last minute baby gift, just a fun addition to, you know, the toy bin at your house, whatever you might say. But I think these two turtles are going to be very happy together. Make sure to check out the link in the description so you can download the pattern. Let me know if you have any comments or questions below, and we'll see you guys next time.